What's the deal? It's your boy GB. I'm here with Thizzler on the roof. You can subscribe with the link down below. GB's that guy, man. He's you know, it just depends on what side you see of him, you know. You can see the good side, the bad side, the rapper side. You know, the loving side, the mad side, you know, whatever side you get to witness a GB, that's who he is, you know. Some people love him, some people hate him, and yeah. GB, I got GB, I was in Delano State Prison in 2016. My big homie Chilo, you know, shout out him. I pretty much didn't decide to take rapping serious up until that point, you know. I was sitting down, I had a lot of time to think. So I was like, man, you know, I gotta do something with my life, you know? So I decided to put it into the music. But in order for me to do that, I was like, I need a stage name. So one of my older homies, Chilo, he gave me the name Ghetto Boy, which what it initially stood for, you know. That's what we call ourselves where I'm from, out there in Merced, is Ghetto Boys. So in order for me to avoid any conflict or whatever with law enforcement, you know, I just decided to abbreviate it to GB. Therefore, it could stand for whatever you want it to stand for. So that's how it started, though, initially, with that name. That time was for a firearm, possession of a deadly weapon. Yeah, they just caught me slipping in traffic, and yeah, I took a little vacation. Took like 3 years with halftime. So yeah, I just sat down for a little bit, you know, reflected on everything, and I decided to do something when I got out this time. I had a daughter, and it just changed my whole perspective on life. Before I knew I could rap and do the whole thing, and everybody would tell me, like, you should take it serious, you should take it serious. But I'm just like, nah, it's just something to do, you know? I'll drop like a song a month, a song every 2 months, just for the fuck of it. And this last time, I was just thinking, like, man, I tried the violent way, I tried selling drugs, and I always end up back in jail, you know? So I was like, I gotta do something to get this money legally. And yeah, I just, you know, I was incarcerated with a lot of rappers, a lot of good talent too, mainly from LA, but from all areas of California. And we would, you know, they would rap, and I'd be like, you know, it's cool if I rap something. They'd be like, yeah, go ahead, you know? And I'll go, and they'd be like, damn, like, you got it, you know? And that's when I started thinking, like, you know, maybe I should give it a try, like, see how far I could go or whatever. Yeah. If you heard it from like A to Z, it was really kind of a lot of politics being spoken throughout the mixtape. It's an EP that I wrote the majority of it in my cell. And it's just kind of, you know, like I told you before, I had a lot of time to reflect. So it's just stuff I felt that I need to get it off my chest, you know? Speaking to the youth, you know, I wasn't really trying to encourage them to gangbang. Rather, just to think, like, if you do it, you know, do it the right way, or at least letting them know the consequences, you know? It's one way in, and you're either it's dead or in jail, you know? So that's my point that I was trying to get across. It wasn't more towards, you know, like hate or animosity towards anybody. It was more just trying to get a point across, you know, and hoping they learn from my mistakes. Yeah, and that's what inspired it, you know. It's kind of like a little story, little storyline, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was pretty, how'd I say it? I don't know, just real, like, oh man, you know. And there was like 40 people maybe. and we were just having a regular political conversation, and they were just, you know, they just asked like, hey, you know, you ready to take that step, you know? And I was just like, yeah, you know. Yeah, it's funny that song EDDY, is dedicated to my mom, obviously, but I was hesitant to put it out just because it was so personal. I was like, man, I don't know if I want people to know this much about me, especially my name, you know? I don't want them to know my name. But I felt like I had to, just because I felt like I owed her something. Just because, like, I remember when I told her that I was gonna have my daughter, she was just like, she had a plain face. And I got kind of mad. I was like, you're not gonna congratulate me or nothing? She was like, nah, it's not that. She's like, I just know the lifestyle that you carry. You're probably not even gonna be here for her, you know, you're probably not even gonna be here for her birth. And she was right, you know. I was like, man, I wasn't there, so when I was in my cell, I could just hear her yelling at me, you know, growing up. I was like, man, she was right the whole time. So I chose to have that as the choruses, and kind of me just breaking it down to you guys, like how I grew up, you know, always getting in trouble, just being hard-headed, and when I finally learned my lesson, like, man, like, she was right the whole time. So it was kind of personal, so I was hesitant, but I actually got a video to that coming out this summer. It's just, it's in the works. It's just, I'm trying to take it to the next step rather than the usual stuff you see. Yeah, I'm trying to really paint a picture with that one. So it should be coming out this summer. That wasn't my case. It was some of my big homies. I probably was supposed to be in that article too, you know, to be honest, but, you know, I decided not to go, you know. And yeah, I decided not to go, and the next morning I seen him on the article. I was like, man, you know, that could have been me. And all it was, you know, like I said, they know faces, and once they see that person, they're like, yeah, he has something. So that's what it was, and they took him on a high speed, you know, and they got caught. And yeah, they're still down for that too. Yeah, I think, yeah, one of them took like double digits. One of them was supposed to be getting out soon, and another one of them snitched. So, yeah, that was that one. Yeah, there's a couple of them. You know, I can't name them all, but there's a couple of them in that song. So it's different cases. Yeah. Like I've been in the music since I could remember. You know, I've always like listened to it. I've always wanted to rap, but I never knew I could. I never knew I could rap. So it wasn't until one day, I think I was like 16, maybe 15. I got home one night, and nobody was home, so I was just looking in the rooms, you know. I walked in my sister's room, and I seen a MP3 player laying on the bed, and I grabbed it, you know, I listened to it, let's see what playlist they got. So I started taking a listen to it. It was a bunch of local artists where I was from, but I was like, okay, you know, it's cool. And then I noticed like a little hole in the MP3 player, and it said MIC next to it. So I was like, man, like the only thing I can think of that stands for is a microphone, you know? So I started looking through the settings, and I found where it said record, you know? So I pushed record, and I was just like, mic check, you know, 1, 2, 1, 2, whatever. I couldn't hear myself, but I played it back, and then I heard what I just recorded, and I was like, oh, fuck, you know? Like, that's as close as I ever got to a studio, you know? I was like, fuck, I just recorded myself. So I got all excited and shit, and my sister walked in. I was like, whose is this? She's like, it's your brother Omar's. So I went to my brother's room. I was like, this is yours? He's like, yeah. I was like, how much you want for it? He's like, give me like $20. So I put out $20, gave him $20. I went to my room, and I just started writing. You know, I just started writing. And I didn't have no instrumentals or beats or nothing at the time. I just had this mixtape by The Game from Compton. This was like sometime 07 maybe, like when he was barely coming up. So I remember he rapped for half the beat and the other half just dragged out. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna use that little piece that I got. So I started writing to that, and all I did was I had the boombox playing, and then I had the MP3 player in front of it, and I was just kind of like, in front of it. So I just got the idea. I was like, why don't I just record his whole verse, and I just come in after him, like, kind of like he's featuring me, type shit. So that's what I did, and it came out cool. I wasn't paying attention to quality or nothing at the time. I just did it. The song was probably like 2 minutes long. And then I went to school the next day, and I was telling my homies, I was like, hey man, I did a song with the game yesterday, and they were like, what? And then they heard it, and they're like, oh shit, you did, But afterwards, I was like, nah, this is how I did it, And they're like, oh yeah, I knew you did it, type shit. So after that, it was just over. I was like, man, like, I got something I can record myself on, And that's how I started rapping. That's like the first time I ever started writing and putting in that effort, and slowly started moving to like finding studios and like years after. But I was on that MP3 player for a while, so that's, I guess I got a lot of lyrical exercise from it, just being able to, deliver and multitask or whatever. So yeah, that's how I started rapping initially. I'm pretty big on recognition in the Merced area. Like when you think Merced and music, you should think of GB. So I'm trying to, what I was trying to do, I was trying to grab the GBs from everywhere else, like this guy, he doesn't have much exposure, but he deserves more exposure, because he got it. So I grabbed somebody from like mainly IG, if I seen them on IG popping, or if I came across them a couple times and I felt myself compatible with them, I'll tap in with them. I got a Lil Trev out of Sacramento. I got a Rack It Up Ant from Oakland, Lil Joe from Hayward, Active Brazy from my town. Yeah, I got it's really nothing but features. It's just the intro and the outro that is just me. Everything in between is just features. They're all produced by my producer, Merc on the beat. Usually I fuck with different producers, but this one I just decided to give it to him, see what he could do with it. And then it's mixed and mastered by my engineer, DJ Chrissy Chris from Stockton. And it's dope, man, it's dope. I think I got it on me. We could probably take a listen to it. Yeah, it's every song is different, It's different than the last one. The last one was more political. This one is more just like headbangers, every song has a different feel, and it's dope. It's got a lot of shit on there. I guess I just want you to see what I see. I like try to paint it as vivid as I possibly can. Yeah. And I wouldn't want you to predict what I'm about to say. Like sometimes you can finish off somebody's bars. And I wouldn't want that. So I try to keep it as complex as I can at the moment. Sometimes I'm in the studio and, I'm not trying to take up too much time. So I'm like, man, I just throw in whatever. But for the most part, I try to paint a picture. I try to put you in that setting and, yeah, not be predictable. I had a lot of influences growing up. I had a different favorite rapper every year, One year it'd be Pac, one year it'd be like Eminem, then it'd be like Dre, then it'd be like Mac Dre, then it just bounced around. I never really had a set. I listen to all genres, all from everywhere, But my last favorite artist was Nipsey Hussle for like the last 5 years. That was my favorite artist. I took it kind of personal, like, I had seen him, I think he passed away in April, if I'm not mistaken. I had seen him in February, there at the store. I go to LA often, and every time I'm in LA, I stop by the Marathon store and I cop some fits or whatever. And I had seen him, and it's crazy because before I got there, I was like, man, if I see him, I'm gonna spit for him, I'm gonna do this and that, I'm gonna get a flick with him or whatever, if I see him. And I seen him, but I was more like, I don't know, he had something going on at the time, they were filming him. He stopped and talked to me for a little bit, but I wasn't trying to be that guy to where, you know, you're holding him back from his day. So I was like, man, I'll catch him next time. You know, I'm here all the time anyways. And then I found out he had passed away. I was like, oh man, there ain't gonna be no next time. So it kind of came, like it was just like, man, you should just, whenever you have that chance, just take it, you know, because you never know when. That's how I took that. I was like, man.